Good morning. I hope BoyceTV.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about this interesting thing that I saw. It's not a new video, but it's a video about a woman who says she went to a singles mixer and there were no men. This is interesting. This is actually a big problem that I've seen in our community, and I'm going to kind of give some assessments on this based on the relationship between love and money, and just kind of what I'm seeing here as Dr. Boyce and Uncle Boyce. So get comfortable, buckle up, seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Watkins. I want to say good morning to everybody. I hope you guys are having a good day. First of all, before we begin, let's do a quick sound check. Give me a quick yes if you can hear me okay. Let me know if I'm coming through all right. Also, don't forget this podcast isn't just video, it's also audio. So if you happen to have Spotify, if you've heard of Spotify or you've heard of Apple, just know that this podcast is also on Spotify and Apple. So if you want to follow me on Spotify and Apple, you can actually find me there. Just look up my name, Boyce Watkins, and it's all right there. All right, so I want to say good morning to Kai and Vic and Linda and Roland Whedon and everybody else. Good morning to you. Also, don't forget we are B1 on this platform. B1 means we're Black first. Black first means we love our community. We love our people. We love Black women. We love Black women, love Black men. We support each other, respect each other, etc. Give me a yes if that's okay. Give me a yes if Black love is important to you and if Black family and things like that are important. Some people say that's old-fashioned to care about family, but I don't believe that. I believe that Black love in the family is critical. If you don't have that, then you all die. We all die. We're all gone. We don't exist. Okay. So anyway, let's begin the conversation on that perspective. All right. So there was this video that came out about a year ago. And it was a video of a woman at a singles mixer. And at the singles mixer, she basically gets online and she says that at this mixer, no men showed up, that no men no men were there. It was only, and she panned the camera around, and it was a video of a bunch of women that looked bored, probably a little bit sad, a little bit disappointed for sure. And it was really, really an interesting and compelling scene. Now, let me just tell you this. I've seen this before. My wife, who is a matchmaker, she's a person that she's a relationship therapist. She's actually somebody who is really big into bringing people together that she believes should be together. Well, she also had a singles mixer in Atlanta. And in Atlanta, I think about 27 women showed up and there were only 3 men. And I think that out of the 3 men, there was only one of them that the women actually really liked. And that one guy was holding court. He was entertaining several women at the same time. So this is kind of the interesting imbalance that you've seen in the dating ecosystem in the Black community. Now, give me a yes if it's okay if I give you kind of a perspective that is different from what you might have heard in other places. Give me a yes if it's okay if I go just a little bit Uncle Boyce. Not that I know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. I'm a 52-year-old man who happens to be married, and I've kind of seen things. And there's some stuff that it doesn't get discussed at all, that doesn't get considered at all in the dating game. And I really hope you guys will hear me on this, because I really think it's critically important for Black people to understand this. Give me a yes if that's okay. If I share this, give me a yes if you can be open-minded. Okay, you don't have to agree with me. This is totally fine, but I just want to lay this out here because people don't talk about this enough. What I see on the internet a lot is I see a lot of gender war. I see a lot of complaining. I see a lot of men angry at women and saying, like one guy I watched, he said the reason that men didn't show up is because women do this and women do this and women do this and women do that. I'm gonna just tell you the truth. You don't have to agree with me or not. It's totally fine. But I'm just going to say, I don't think where I come from, men don't sit around arguing with women like that. Where I come from, men don't sit around just complaining and being bitchy, bitchy toward women in the sense that that's seen as very feminine behavior. That's seen as being very weak. And it took me time to learn that. These are things you learn from your father, which actually links to another element that I think is critical in terms of what's happened in the dating ecosystem for Black people. What's happened in the Black community is that you don't have fathers. And when you don't have fathers in your households, it creates these kinds of imbalances. It creates scenarios where the men and the women are not what you might call equally yoked. If you go to church, you've heard that term, equally yoked. Well, I'm not talking about reading the Bible. I'm not talking about going to church. I'm talking, because I don't even go to church. I'm talking about just being equally prepared for this journey, this challenging journey called family and marriage. That is something you have to be trained for, something you have to be prepared for, something that has to be part of your culture, something that you actually have to want. It's not something that you naturally just fall into. It's something that is heavily based on how you were raised and how you were trained. So I want you to process this for a moment. Give me a guess if you can hear this particular perspective. Why in the world would you think that a lot of people will be getting married in a community where marriages don't last and most children don't even have a father in the house? What makes you think that your household is just naturally going to be different from the household you were raised in? What did you seriously? I mean, um, that's like saying that a person who grows up extremely ignorant is going to automatically become a PhD, or somebody who grows up in a family full of runners is going to grow up not wanting to run at all. Is going to grow up and become obese because they never tried running before, or you grow up in a family where everybody goes to church and you're gonna grow up worshiping the devil. What do y'all think? I mean, what in the world would make us think that that was going to actually be the case at all? No, we tend to sort of inherently copy the household that we grew up in. And the only time you don't copy the household you grew up in is when you consciously and deliberately make a concerted and significant effort to break a pattern. Do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. In order for you, for example, if you grew up poor and your parents sold crack and taught you how to bag crack up when you were a baby, and it grew up in a lot of chaos or whatever, you have to be very intentional about saying, I'm not going to have a household like that. You have to be intentional. It's sad. I feel bad, right? But if you want to break generational curses, you have to be clear that I want to break that curse. You have to be clear about where you want to be. You have to be clear about where you're going, and clear about the fact that that's going to be different from what you grew up in. Do you understand what I'm saying? Habits are heavy. Habits are a big deal. This is why Black brainwashing is such a profitable venture for white supremacy. This is why they've been brainwashing you since slavery, because they say once we wash your brain, then you're going to do what we want you to do, even if we don't even tell you to do it. You're going to do things if I brainwash you to destroy yourself, then you're going to destroy yourself on autopilot. You're going to do it even if I don't tell you to do it. Okay. So here's what I will say to you. I think that when you talk about this particular singles mixer, where this woman says she went there and there were all these women and there were no men, I think it speaks to two or three factors that I want to introduce you to help you understand. And I'm hoping that you'll hear me. And this is going to be different from what anybody else is saying. I have not heard anybody out there saying this. And I'm not saying it's because the world is full of stupid people. I'm not going to say that. But I am going to say that who knows, maybe my having a PhD for the last 20 years might lead to some insights on some of this. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not claiming to be an expert on everything, but I am married to a relationship therapist, and there are just insights that I really think people should consider instead of listening to angry people on the internet. And I'm not gonna call them angry idiots. I get mad myself. I get triggered myself when I just see ignorance, and I think ignorance is all over our community. I really do. I think that they want us to be ignorant. They want us to be stupid. They want us to be a day late and a dollar short. They want us to be left behind. I just don't like that, and it bothers me. It bothers me. Anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. In case you don't know, I did write a book years ago called Financial Lovemaking that's all about how love and money mix together. And also, whether you know it or not, this is a heavily economic conversation. Economics is all in the room. When I saw that room full of these professional women that all are making all this money, and I see the men aren't showing up, well, the economics is part of it right there. You have an economy in a society that was not designed to incorporate the Black man the way it incorporates the Black woman. Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. It goes back to slavery. In slavery, they wanted that pretty or that light-skinned Black woman inside the house. They left Negroes like me out in the field. Do you understand? especially a man like me who stood up to the white man. I'm not scared of white folks. I ain't scared of crazy black people. I ain't scared of racist white people. Those things have never scared me. So when you are a man and you stand up for yourself and you have confidence and you're not scared of nothing and you're just as intelligent, just as capable as a white guy, well, he's smart. He sees competition. He says, I smell competition. I don't want competition around me. And this is not just true for humans. This is actually true for any animal in the animal kingdom. There is no gorilla who has a bunch of females around him who wants another equally masculine gorilla in his space. Give me a yes if you follow this. There is no lion, elephant, nothing. That is a male, that is a strong male that wants other competitive elephants around. So, black man, when you go get that master's degree or you get that bachelor's degree and you go apply for the same job as the black woman, well, unfortunately, in many cases, he's going to want her, but he may not want you. Or you apply for the same job as that gay man. No disrespect if you're gay. I don't have any issue with people based on who they are, LGBTQ, but this is the point. This is the point I got to make. The gay man is going to be seen differently than you. Why? Well, because he might have more feminine properties. And also sometimes he might be with the woman and the gay guy. He might be looking at their booties. He ain't going to be looking at your booty. Seriously, the only group, actually, I saw this study and I got to go double check to make sure the numbers are right. But I could have sworn I read in a study that said that the only group of people that make as much money as white men in corporate America are black gay men. Did y'all know that? They literally, the gay guys are the only ones that can really kind of wiggle their way through these spaces that masculine men have a hard time getting through, heterosexual men, right? So here's my point. The black man gets misled into trying to follow the same path of success as everyone else. You try to become successful the same way your sister did, and it doesn't work for you the way it worked for your sister. You have a different experience. You have a different set of obstacles. You have a different way. You're greeted differently at the door, and then you don't understand why they're getting these results that you're not getting. See, I'm going to explain it like this. My wife is a feminine, beautiful, intelligent, light-skinned black woman. She knows that there is a light skin privilege in this country. Now, she just because she's light skinned don't mean she's weak. She grew up in Gary, Indiana, which was the murder capital of the earth or at least of the United States when she grew up, right? So she's from the hood and all that, but you wouldn't guess it because she looks like, Sally Sue from the suburbs, right? And I don't hold that against her because I think she's a wonderful and amazing and gorgeous and thicker than a snicker and all these things that you like in a black woman. Now, here's the thing about my wife. My wife is employed as a professor at a university that does not have one single African-American male on the faculty. Did you hear what I just said? I'm going to say it again slow. I need y'all to hear this. At this institution that she works, they do not have one single African-American male that they have on the entire faculty. Hundreds of people, not one African-American male. Do you think that's a coincidence? Do you think that this isn't something my wife and I talk about? I brought this up. This is one of the reasons why, and I know some people like to reduce comments to, oh, you be hating and all this, but I wasn't hating when I said to Deion, when I was sort of speaking toward Deion Sanders, I said, I love you and I respect you. I said, but also just don't forget that this institution, Colorado, that loves you and they love these black athletes, they don't love black people when they show up and they can't dribble a basketball, throw a football. I said, so while you in there, maybe you can tell them to go hire some black professors instead of just using black people for our athletics, instead of just using us for our talent and taking all of our swag and all of our thunder and all of our wealth through sports. Because remember, he's going to make $1 billion for that school. That billion could have went to an HBCU, but whatever. I'm not mad about that. That's his life, his choice. But if you want to know where black wealth is going, it's going because things like this happen and you don't say anything. You sit there and you cheer it on. You encourage money flying out the window. You dump buckets of money out the window and you cheer for it. And then you say, well, where did all the money go? Well, that's where the money went. The money goes because whenever you have something valuable in your community, they come along and they buy it. That's just honest God truth. So with Deion Sanders, I simply said, hey, you know what? I looked at your university and they rarely, if ever, promote black professors. They rarely hire them. Tell them, hey, look, if you want black athletes, you also got to hire some black people that are not athletes. Every black man ain't going to be 6'8", 240 pounds. Every black man ain't going to be able to run the 40-yard dash in 4.3 seconds. Every black man ain't going to be able to go out and catch passes and dunk basketballs and intercept footballs the way Travis Hunter can. But those black men are valuable too. We are valuable too. And the reality is that you do live in a society where, and this links, I promise you, this goes back to that whole singles mixer. This explains why this black woman showed up and all these women were there and there were no men. There are so many black men in this society who are not athletes, not rappers, not comedians, that don't get any attention at all, that don't get respect at all, that don't get invited into the society at all. Now, remember, in the tradition of explaining what I said to you earlier, that it's not appropriate, in my view, for a man to sit around and just complain about what other people are doing to him. You're not a victim. That's not how you're supposed to be built. God did not make you that way, nor will God reward you for carrying yourself in the victim box. You will never be rewarded for constantly walking around complaining about how hard it is to be black and how sad it is and how don't nobody treat you right. So what? Stop being a bitch. You can't be no bitch and get respect in this world. You just can't. You can't. You might have got all the cards might have been dealt in the wrong direction. You might have been dropped in a crappy situation. Things might be hard for you. Things might not be fair for you. Life ain't never gonna be fair. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. If you showing up and you're crying and you're a man, the world will never ever ever respect you, nor will they give you any sort of consideration. They'll just say, "Oh, there's that crying, whiny little black man over there." The women aren't going to want to be around you. Your children aren't going to look up to you, and the white man's going to start laughing. Racist white men, not all white people. I don't hate white people. I want to make that clear. Okay, so with that being said, what I've always stated, and this is again, let's circle it back to me and my wife. When me and my wife talk about the fact that she works on a campus that does not hire black men, that does not have a single African American male on the entire campus, we have come to agreement that that my path to success could not have been her path to success. My path to success can't be the same one as my wife. I can't look at what my wife does and say, well, I got a PhD too. You got a good job. I should get the good job too. Because if I try to do what she does, if I try to fit, if she's the round hole that fits in the round, or round peg that fits in the round hole, and I'm a square peg trying to fit in a round hole, I'm going to find myself very, very frustrated. So what worked for me was I said, you know what? I realized if I'm going to really have the kind of sway in my own life that I want, I've got to learn to start a business. I have no choice. I can't go chasing jobs the way I used to, because that's not going to work for me in terms of getting me what I want out of life. And then there's a show on Netflix with Mike Epps and Kim Fields. It's really good. It's a the Upshaws in this show, which by the way I highly recommend. It's very funny. Shout out to them for putting it together. They really capture the essence of black marriage very well on this show. And in this show, the wife, she has the corporate job, and the husband, played by Mike Epps, has his own business. I think this should be the model for black families going forward. I think the black man has to build his own space. He has to understand that if you want to be the king of a castle, you got to learn how to build a castle. A man will never invite you into his castle and make you the king. He's just not going to do that. And so effectively, when you look at what's happening with the genders, when you look at the gender imbalance, that this woman goes to the mixer, she's looking to finally meet a man because she's been focused on her career or got her 2 master's degrees or finished her medical degree. Now she's ready to get a husband. She shows up. The black men aren't there. Well, what happened? Well, because on this bus called life, at some point, she stayed on the bus and he jumped off the bus. He's over across town somewhere. He's doing something else. He's with the Passport Brothers or whatever. And she's on this bus and she gets off the bus and says, okay, let's go to the next stage. There's nobody there with her. And this is a horrific imbalance that was created by a long series. That's just too long to really mention of specifically designed. This wasn't by accident. This was specifically designed to create this sort of chaos in your community. Their goal was to destabilize you. They've been doing that for hundreds of years. And what's even worse is that some of us love it. With some of us cheer, we get excited when these things happen. We like these things. Like for example, if you look at the music, how a rapper could literally make a song called "Die N-Word Die." Like he could say, let's say, "Die Igga Die, Die Igga Die," and if he puts it on a nice beat, black people will literally dance to that. Like you would literally dance, and it's got to be confusing to people that say, wait a minute, 1 minute you're telling me Black Lives Matter and that I should be crying with you when a black man gets shot by the cops, but the next minute a rapper makes a song called "Die Igga Die," and because it sounds good and it makes you feel good, like a child, you start dancing to the song because your joy of the music overwhelms the fact that you have a greater responsibility, and you are a community that's trained to not believe that you ever have to take responsibility for anything. right? And this is a horrific contradiction. And I know people get mad when I say it. I got rapper friends that think, oh, they say, oh, Dr. Boyce, I know I know you don't like rappers. I'm like, what are you talking about? I love rappers. I love hip hop. I have dozens of friends that are rappers. That some good, some bad. I got a lot of rapper friends. What are you talking about? Me disagreeing with you, or me helping you get better, or me correcting behavior that is destructive, is not me disliking you. In fact, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't even address you. The people that I don't like, I don't even correct or address anything. You could literally be jumping off a bridge and I wouldn't say a word because I don't like you. But if I like you, I'm gonna say, hey man, don't jump off that bridge. The water's cold. You might die. It's gonna hurt. And well, you be hating on me, or trying to just live my life and jump off the bridge. What are you talking about? Stop that. That's crazy. So anyway, let me get back to the topic. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Don't forget the All Black National Convention, which is our biggest annual event of the year, is happening in Atlanta, October 20th. If you'd like to join us, it's a great place to meet other like-minded people who are progressive, intelligent, believe in things like love and family and wealth. It's an amazing event. I guarantee you're going to have a ton of fun. It's like a big family reunion. If you're interested in joining us, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. And also, we're going to do an open house where we're going to talk to you guys about the convention tonight. If you want to come in and ask questions and just see what's going to go down and what the experience will be like and how to get the most out of it. So do that to get an invitation to that open house. Join our social media platform, which we created for you guys to get, because we want to get away from Facebook and Instagram and all that. Because you guys know because I talk about race, Facebook bans me. Like literally, you can't even say my name on Facebook without right. Go to Facebook and type Boyce Watkins in a post and hit enter, and the post will disappear, because apparently Facebook, I did not know this, but apparently Facebook doesn't just ban you. They can ban your name. So literally, I think the name Boyce Watkins is literally banned on Facebook and Instagram. So I don't even say my name on there. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird because I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not beating white people up. But apparently when you single out a single race, like I talk about black people all the time, I talk about white people, or I just tell it like it is, they've decided to do that. So it doesn't matter. Don't worry. I told you, we don't sit and whine about our problems. We just fix them. And so we have millions of followers on various platforms, so they can't really take down everything we've got anyway. I got 2 YouTube channels with 500,000 subscribers. People don't even know that because I don't talk about it. And I have several more that have over 50,000, 60,000. So anyway, one thing that we do have is b1nation.us. That's the URL. Go to b1nation.us, be1nation.us, and you can actually join our social media platform. But there's 3 questions you have to answer, because we don't want to let ignorant people in. We don't want to let racist people in. We don't want spammers, trolls, idiots, or jerks, right? So if you are a good person and you believe in the cause, then go to be1nation.us and you can join us. That's be1nation.us. All right. So let's dive a little bit more into this. All right. So this whole video that came out last year about a woman that went to a singles mixer, and there were a bunch of black women there and there were no men. And one thing I can tell you is that I knew that video was going to feed into the gender war. Has anybody else noticed this? Give me a yes or no if you've noticed the massive gender war that's been happening kind of in the community, where you have entire platforms built off of men complaining about women, and then you have platforms built off of women who just complain about men. And I can tell you, because I know some of these people, actually help them build their platforms. I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to. I'm not trying to get into no internet beefs. I'm a professor. I'm not trying to be beefing with people that are just wanting to fight and get views. But I can tell you that in many cases, if you look in the backgrounds of these people, I know a lot of the YouTube influencers, because I've been around. I'm kind of an OG in this game. So some of them literally started on my platform back when I used to share it more. Now I can't share it so much just because of weird stuff that can happen. But anyway, one thing I can tell you about a lot of these people is that if you look in their backgrounds, many of them are deeply disturbed. Many of them have what my wife and her therapist friends might say is undiagnosed trauma. They have a lot of healing that needed to occur that never took place. And the internet has become a place where they're sort of spilling and spewing and puking their trauma onto the world. Right? They get out there and they say, oh my God, look at this. I got 200,000 subscribers because I get on the internet and scream and holler about my problems. So I'm going to go and just talk crazy about black women, because apparently everybody hates black women too. So I can gather this whole audience of frustrated, angry men who will sit with me and listen to me explain why Black women are the cause of all society's problems. But remember, men aren't the only ones doing this. The women do it too. There are platforms that are built for women that do the exact same thing. Or maybe if you look at some of the dating advice, very bad, very horrifically bad dating advice, it's typically devoid of any accountability. It's somebody who maybe some really good looking man who has a YouTube channel where all he does is tell women, pay attention. This is for critical thinkers. I want you to ask yourself this question when you're looking at the content. Typically, he's saying things to women that make everything not their fault. You know what I mean? Like every single thing that happens, it's because something men won't do, men won't commit, men won't do this, men won't do that, or he ain't good enough for you, girl, blah, 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 blah. And what that's doing is that's almost like a type of heroin. Like he's giving you an opiate to heal the pain from your loneliness. By saying, look at me, girl, I'm your fantasy man. You could get a man like me because I'm the man of your dreams, and everything that's happening to you ain't none of it your fault. It's not right. You could be the craziest, most ratchet person in the world, but there's no sort of effort to help you heal, to help you grow, to help you become a better person. It's all like, just come to my channel or buy my books, and I'll take your money so I can sit around and tell you that nothing that ever happens in your life is your fault. I don't believe that is appropriate. And one of the things I will tell you is that you might wonder, like, why would a finance professor be talking about this? Like, there are some people who say, Dr. Boyce, just stick to talking about finances. You can't talk about this. No, one thing I need you to understand is that money and relationships are heavily linked. Give me a yes if you understand how deeply connected your relationship choices are to your wealth outcomes. Give me a yes if you understand how Black wealth is dying because Black families are dying. Give me a yes if you've ever seen the financial devastation and despair experienced by a single mother with 3 kids with no help. Give me a yes if you've ever seen how much pain, how much trauma, how much financial trauma occurs in that situation. Give me a yes if you've ever seen how much financial pain and trauma occurs from a man who is a dedicated baby daddy who's got 6 women suing him in child support at the same time, eating massive chunks of his paycheck every single week, where he's 36 and he don't want to be a player no more. He's trying to settle down and get a wife and kids, but his wife ain't even marrying a whole man. She's getting, as T.I.'s wife Tiny used to call, a piece of man. You're getting a piece of man because there's 6 other women who got their fangs in his economics before you even get to him. This man ain't even making that much money. He's only making 50 grand, but 30 grand is going to his other women and his other kids. So you're marrying into a harem. I'm sorry, that's what it is. It sucks, but that's what it is. And if you link that to this story that I saw about this woman who went to the singles mixer, she looked like she was about 37, 38 years old, maybe 33, 34. I mean, could be younger. I don't think she was in her 20s. I'm going to tell you, I bet you that part of the reason the men won't show up to the mixer is because a lot of times men just don't feel confident trying to date if their financial situation ain't right. So it's already a struggle. Pay attention now. I need y'all to connect the dots here. It's already a struggle in this economy for a Black man, period. The white man ain't really hiring you like he's hiring everybody else. The education system rejected you when you were a child, and maybe your own daddy rejected you when you were a baby because he was the guy that was supposed to teach you all this stuff. You know, he was the guy that's supposed to tell you these things that I'm telling you right now. But he wasn't there. He rejected you. The system, the school system rejected you. The economy's rejecting you. So you're expecting, pay attention now, you're expecting a bunch of men who've been rejected by society since they were children to show up to the mixer ready to like build a family and have all these people depending on them. How in the hell can you expect groups of men to be able to have others depend on him when when he's barely making it himself? And it's a 2-person tango. It's society. It starts with society for sure. I think the world has been at war with the Black man from the time before he was born. The world's been at war with me since my mother was 16 and they told her to abort me. It starts with your mother being pregnant with you and them telling your mother things like they told my mother, like, well, you're too poor to have a baby. If you just go ahead and abort it, then you won't have to worry about this. That's what they told my mother. But for whatever reason, God told my mother to give birth to me, and that's why I'm talking to you today. So they could have eliminated the Boyce Watkins prize instead of banning me on Facebook and doing all the other things they did to me in the school system and the economic system. They could have got rid of me by convincing my mother to not ever give birth to me. And the thing is that there's thousands of Boyce Watkinses that they eliminated before they even got here. So I'm just one of several thousand that would have been born that don't exist because society is at war with the black man from the before he is born. Okay, so this is, I want to make this clear. I'm not sitting here saying that the black man is responsible for every problem that he has. I'm not saying that at all, but I am saying that some of you, unfortunately, have been trained by society to contribute to your own problems. When you are listening to stupid ass rappers who tell you that you're supposed to stick your penis into every single vagina that walks by, and to the point where you got kids floating around here everywhere that you can barely take care of, that's you contributing to your problem because you have this unaddressed issue that in which your masculinity was falsely defined by the number of random toxic vaginas you can put your penis in. And then by the time you get to the point where you're ready to try to take responsibility for something, it's very difficult to do that when you already got 80,000 pounds of baggage on your back already. You're already paying child support on 5 kids. How you going to now go start a family with somebody else in a society that doesn't even support your quest to get the economics that you need in order to take care of one family, let alone 5 or 6? So these imbalances that exist have to be addressed. They have to be acknowledged. They have to be identified, and you got to address them when these kids are young. Part of the reason, again, let's go back to the basic idea. Part of the reason that you had this mixer where with all these black women and 0 men is because the women are there ready for the next step in life. I'm ready to have a relationship. But unfortunately, you're in a society where a lot of our men are not only unprepared to move to the next stage, but are also trained to be perpetual children. Hip hop does that. Look at how many 45, 50-year-old rappers you have that literally still act like teenagers. Seriously, look at it, or go on the internet and look at how many wimpy, bitchy men there are who sit around on YouTube and just talk about how stupid women are, how terrible women are, etc., without addressing the fact that maybe you talk like that because you hate your mama. Maybe you talk like that because your baby mama hurt your feelings and you got to heal from that trauma. But instead of healing from the trauma in an appropriate way, you just do what the world encourages you to do, which is to get out and traumatize other people too. I have no, I had really mixed feelings about the late Kevin Samuels because I didn't dislike this guy. I thought this guy was logical and intelligent in so many contexts. Kevin did a whole video about me and was very supportive of me. And I did not know this video existed because I don't watch YouTube videos about me. I just don't. So if you make a video about me, just know I'm not going to see it. Other people might. So, whatever. But when he's up here talking about, you're going to die alone if you don't listen to me, and telling women, you're going to die alone, or if you're over 35, you're a leftover. That is a highly inappropriate way to address your personal issues with black women. That is a highly inappropriate approach. Highly inappropriate. You're traumatizing people because here's the thing. Here's what I think we don't acknowledge enough. For every crazy woman you see on the internet who's doing something ridiculous and toxic, there are so many women who are really good people who didn't do anything to create the situation that they're in. They haven't gone around disrespecting men. They're not only dating men based on the size of their bank account. All they're looking for is somebody who's going to love them and treat them with decency and respect. There are so many women like that. And what's unfortunate is that we will take the most ratchet ones. We'll take the 304s and the Suki Hanas and you mix them in with the women who don't think any of that's appropriate. You mix them in with women who would die for you. Black men. I mean, there are women out here that will fight and die for you, that will protect you when nobody else will. And you blend them all together, and that's so inappropriate. You cannot do that. And in fact, let me tell you a little story. There was a kid who came to one of my events. He was about 21 years old. He was a student at Stanford, and he followed me around the whole event. He kept following me around, and I enjoyed talking to him. I was like, why is this kid following me around? But it's okay. All right, well, let's talk. So he told me, he said, 3 years ago, Dr. Boyce, I never would have listened to anything you said. He said, I would have thought that somebody like you was just a racist and ignorant and old fashioned. And I said, well, what changed your mind? He said, well, in high school, I was a star athlete and I dated pretty much only white girls. He said that one day I got accused of sexually assaulting a girl that I was dating. And he said, I did not do it, and I was trying to tell everybody I didn't do it. But because she accused me, he said all of his white friends abandoned him. A lot of his black friends abandoned him. He said the only people that stood by him were black women that he worked with. He said the black women were the only ones who who believed me, who at least acknowledged my side of the story. Everybody else assumed that because she accused me that that it must be true. And he said eventually after they went to court and he almost went to prison, that it turned out that she made the whole damn thing up. And I said, so what happened to her? He said nothing. She got no penalty, no punishment, whatever. He said, I was so traumatized. He said, I'm still traumatized. He said, I'm scared to date anybody. And he said he went to Stanford. This is a true story. I'm not making this up. He said, I went to Stanford and I got with the students in the Black Student Union, and we're all talking about our experience as Black people. And I stood up and I started talking about my experience of being falsely accused of assault and how that affected me and traumatized me. He said they told me just sit down and be quiet. You're a straight Black male. You got straight Black male privilege. You don't deserve to talk. Right. And because everything was all about being gay and trans and all this other stuff, but they forgot about the horrific experiences of straight Black men. This is a true story. I'm not making any of this up at all. And so ultimately what I told this kid was I said, well, you got to remember, Black women been standing up for Black men since slavery. Black women been saving us for hundreds of years. Going back to you think that what they're doing to you is anything compared to what Massey used to do to Black men on the plantation? And the Black woman was the one who would hide you so that he couldn't come get you. So we owe a debt of gratitude to Black women, to the good ones, to the ones that are not, the ones that are still healthy enough to do the right thing, right? And I think that should be acknowledged. I don't see enough of us consistently doing that, and I'm gonna do that till the day I die. I'm not backing off of that for nothing or nobody. All right. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. We have a lot of stuff in the Black Business School. In case you guys don't know, we've actually educated 10 million of our people on how to invest or how to buy their first share of stock. My background, I'm a finance professor. I taught at Syracuse University for a lot of years. Also, I wrote a book called Financial Lovemaking. So if you want to know why I'm talking about this topic, it's because I've always been intrigued by how love and money connect. It all started actually when I was 31 and I got my first $100,000 a year job. And I found it fascinating that I suddenly became so much more attractive because I had money and I did not understand that. So I read books about it and the biology of attraction. And there were a lot of things I learned. You'd be amazed how much you learn from opening a damn book. And I read these books and I was like, oh my God, there's so much stuff here. And it helped me understand women, helped me understand life a lot better. And there are a few fundamental realities that relate to love and money that I think we have to understand and acknowledge. And you have to prepare your son for these things, right? So that he doesn't end up, you don't want your son, give me a yes or no. How many of you want your sons growing up being like bitter, upset, being a bitter, upset, angry man who sits on the internet talking all day about how women have disappointed him and how terrible women are? Hey, give me a yes or no. How many of you want that for your child? Right? Please, we don't need more of this. All right. So no disrespect if you're in that category, but come on, man, y'all got to stop. It's incredibly weird and weak. A strong man solves a problem. A weak man complains about it. All right. So here are a few things based on scientific research that women tend to be attracted to when it comes to males. These are things that are hard to get around. These are things that you got to think about and process. This is their biological wiring. It's hard to get human beings to change their wiring. All right. So number one is physical strength and dominance. So they said in various animal species, females often prefer males who exhibit physical strength and dominance, which are traits typically associated with alpha males. This is because such traits are often linked with a male's ability to provide and protect, ensuring the survival and well-being of the offspring. So one thing, again, the missing father is huge in all this, right? Because a lot of times your father is the person that gives you confidence. The father is the one who prepares you to deal with aggressive men. Men can be really aggressive and nasty to each other. Like if you've ever, played football or you see the way men treat each other in prison or in the military, men can be really mean and aggressive. So if you have a boy who is raised only by his mama, where his mother has nurtured him his whole life a lot, and it hasn't really been pushed out there. Like even with me and my wife, the way we look at our oldest is different. You know, there are times where I'll push him out there. Well, she'll say, no, 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 he needs to be safe. He needs to be happy and well fed. And I'm like, no, 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 he needs to suffer a little bit so he'll gain some strength. Well, that's what you get from your father. So ultimately, that what they talk about, that physical strength and dominance, it doesn't have to always manifest in terms of physical strength. It could just be that ability to stand up to other men, to be able to stand up to the world, right? And not just sort of sit and be sad about things. I remember my father when we were struggling and we were broke, when he was young, we had no money, and my father would just say, I'm going to go solve this problem. I'm going to go figure this out. And I think my mother admired my father largely because even if he wasn't always winning, he was always fighting. Give me a yes if you understand. Even if he wasn't always getting what he wanted, he always went for what he wanted. He had, and also just generally confidence in general is something I think that can be taught. Confidence starts heavily with self-love. My confidence I'm very confident when I go through life. I'm not scared of hardly nothing. And it's funny. My father said that when I was little, I asked him about the first time I was on an airplane. I said, did I get scared? He said, nah, you weren't really scared of nothing. I was kind of proud of that. Right. But also confidence. I learned that from watching my dad. My dad understood that confidence partly means, it doesn't mean not being afraid. Confidence means going into a situation and acknowledging that you're afraid, but knowing that you got to do it anyway. Right. Or my father, who also was a veteran. Shout out to all the veterans who are in here. I have so much respect for you. My father's the kind of person where if he's going through something difficult and I say, well, how do you feel about it? He'll say, it doesn't matter how I feel. I got to get the job done. Right. These are little things that I think fathers teach. And this is why, ladies, when you got to pick the fathers of your children carefully. Don't be just sleeping with any guy just because he's good looking, because some of these men are not built to be fathers. And then number two, you got to respect that relationship with his dad. He gets things from his father that he can never get from you. You can't. I don't believe a woman can really raise a man to be a man the way a man can. Right? I can't raise our girls the same way their mother can. With me thinking that I don't need their mother would be probably the biggest dose of sheer insanity that a person can manufacture. It will be absolutely insane and crazy for me to think that I can teach these girls how to put on a tampon or whatever. I don't even know what a maxi pad. I don't even know the right terminology. Do you understand? I can't talk to them about all the things women go through that men don't understand. It would be ridiculous for me to think that I don't need their mother. So why in the world do we have a society where they don't talk to you that you don't need the kid's daddy? Come on, man. That's crazy to me. Number two, the number two thing that women are attracted to is resource acquisition and provisioning. Linked to biology, in the animal kingdom, females are often select males who can secure resources, as it directly impacts the survival of their offspring. Similarly, women may be drawn to men who have the ability to acquire and provide resources, ensuring stability and security. They also mention things like symmetrical features, which is interesting. Symmetry is often associated with genetic fitness and health. In the animal world, females may prefer males with symmetrical features, as it can be an indicator of good genes and robust health. Shout out to Idris Elba, who won the genetic lottery, because I still don't understand what y'all love about him, but whatever. I respect it. Altruism and kindness. While alpha males in the animal kingdom might be associated with dominance, human relationships also value social bonding and cooperation. Altruism can be seen as a trait that indicates a willingness to provide and care for others, which is crucial for long-term relationship stability and offspring upbringing. Number 5, confidence and social status. High social status and confidence can be related to the alpha male concept in the animal kingdom. Alpha males often have priority access to resources and mating opportunities. Similarly, men who exhibit confidence and hold a high social status may be perceived as more attractive because they are seen as more capable of providing and protecting. So, I have a meeting, so I'm going to end this. But do you understand how so much of this is connected to your ability to provide and protect? Do you understand that? Right. And so what I believe racist society has done, what white supremacy has done, and Dr. Claude Anderson explains this very well in his books like Black Labor, White Wealth, and Powernomics, is they have worked overtime to inhibit the black man's ability to provide and to protect his women and his children. So some of y'all have grew up in environments where your mothers were not trained to marry a black man. They were trained to marry Joe Biden. And that's one of the reasons why Joe Biden gets more respect from some black women than any black man on earth. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. And some of them maybe marry white Jesus. White Jesus is their boyfriend, their lover, their macho man, this all-powerful guy that can come in and solve all their problems and make them feel better and make their tears go away. Look at how people talk about their Jesus. No disrespect. If you go to church, keep going. I'm not dissing that at all, but I'm saying to you that there are these substitutes they put in place to ensure that you never ever gain trust or respect for Black men. Right. And a lot of your lack of trust and respect might have started from the fact that the first man that was supposed to be there for you was not there for you. Right. And that also part of that is on us. And I think this is going to take a community effort. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. It's not something that I hope that this conversation did not sound like I was blaming Black men or blaming Black women or whatever. I'm blaming all of us. I'm looking at all of us, not even blaming. I'm not even blaming, because actually, if you want to blame somebody, I think we can blame racism, white supremacy, and societal structure. I think that's where the blame should go. The responsibility, however, do you understand? Give me a yes if you're following this. This is only a conversation for smart people. Idiots and trolls, just please shut up. It is our responsibility to fix our community, fix our families together. And to do that, we must solve the problems wherever the solution lies, and we must be committed to that. So some basic ideas that we should commit to, in my view, that will solve a lot of these problems are: number one, Black love. We must find some way to love each other. If the man in front of you is not somebody you can love, then love another Black man. If the Black woman in front of you is a dirty gold digger or whatever say when you talk about women, find a woman who's not in that category. They do exist. Black wealth. We must commit ourselves to acquiring wealth in as independent of a fashion as we possibly can, so that they can't come along and rock your institutions the way that they do. If your Black boy is being raised to depend on the white male to provide him what he needs economically and to feed his family, then that is putting him in a horrifically unstable position. So that means if I'm a Black man, even if I have a job, nothing wrong with having a job, but even if I have a job, I got side hustles, I have extra skills, I'm always prepared in case he stops hiring or he fires me on my day off or I don't get the treatment I deserve in corporate America. Do you understand? So Black love, Black wealth, these basic ideas can go a very long way in terms of rebuilding our society. We must educate our own children. Education ain't just what you learn in a damn book. Education is learning everything that's going to help you have a quality life. It's everything that comes down to your mental health, your physical health, your relationship health, your economic health. We have to be doing that, because if we keep on letting our children be educated by the world and by society, these problems will never, ever go away. So that's my 2 cents, guys. I hope that it was taken with the intention that I had this morning. I did not intend to offend anybody. If I offended you, then I apologize. If you don't accept my apology, then please go to another channel, because this is what I believe. I'm sticking with this. We're not changing. And I do believe that some of you are figuring this out, and I applaud you and I encourage you to continue down that path, because you're going to do something wonderful for your children by giving them a way out of this mess. There is a way out, but you got to look for the solutions. All right. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go. Don't forget, All Black National Convention is October 20th in Atlanta. If you'd like to join us in Atlanta, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. It is a massive event. Everyone loves it. It's extraordinarily good. It will change your life. Bring your family. Bring anybody that you want to bring. And I know you're going to love it. We're going to do a Q&A tonight for the convention next week. If you'd like to join that Q&A, join our social media platform. You can join for free, but you got to answer 3 questions to make sure that we literally admit people one by one. Once you get admitted, though, you can invite other people. That's a privilege that members get. Just don't invite your crazy friends. Invite your intelligent friends and good people. So anyway, if you want to join, just go to be1nation.us. That's be1nation.us. And also, last but not least, you guys know I'm a finance professor. I love to talk about topics that relate to love and money. That's why I talked about that today. If you want to get profit alerts or access to our $5 a day investing plan in the Black Business School, lots of other free resources, just text the word stock to 31996. You can text the word stock to 31996. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. God bless you. And thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.